think he needs help. When was the last time an actor assassinated a president? I want to clarify, I'm not an actor. I lie for a living.
Okay, you've probably seen those remarks out of Johnny Depp, and he's going to a little too far here, actually referring to John Wilkes Booth, of course, who the actor who famously shot and killed Abraham Lincoln. And a lot of people are sort of sloughing this off and say, well, that's just what actors do and all. But does this go too far, especially in this environment, everything that's been happening? Gayle Trotter joining us now, Independent Women's Forum senior fellow. Gayle, what did you think of this?
Entertainers have a disturbing fixation with assassination fantasies each time a Republican is president. You mentioned the history, Neil, but I'm not sure that Johnny Depp knows enough U.S. history to realize that this actually happened in 1865, because if he did realize that, he might have thought twice, because his unintended example, Abraham Lincoln, was one of our nation's greatest presidents, and things didn't end well for John Wilkes Booth, as you know, Neil.
You know, still, given all of his troubles and everything that's going on, you know, and I know he's had financial problems with this other stuff, but what keeps happening is their devotees, the people who love these actors, and whether it's Kathy Griffin and some of these others, they laugh after they enjoy it, they get a kick out of it. So it's almost the reaction that kind of scares me as much as what they're saying. What do you think?
He's cowardly. So when you think about that, there have been allegations of violence against him committing violence against his ex-wife. And when you think about that in relation to this kind of threat that was put out there, it's not humorous. And I think the people on the left are power hungry. They're transmitting that to Hollywood and to our entertainers. And the entertainers are just going along with a bandwagon, but they go too far, like we saw with the Kathy Griffin example, like we saw with Madonna saying she wanted to blow up the White House. This is, I think, the 11th entertainer who has made these types of threatening comments about our president. It's not acceptable to say this about any American citizen, and certainly not about the president, the leader of our country, whose charge is to defend the safety of the nation.
Well, you just don't say this about anyone, especially in light of what happened to Congressman Scalise, who's fortunately just out of intensive care just now. But still looking at a long road to recovery here. But the White House has issued a response to all of this I want to share with you, Gayle. President Trump has condemned violence in all forms, and it is sad that others like Johnny Depp have not followed his lead. I hope that some of Mr. Depp's colleagues will speak out against this type of rhetoric as strongly as they would if his comments were directed at a Democratic elected official. They do raise a good point. If this had been said in reverse about Barack Obama, I think the response would have been a little different.
Well, Neil, I'm glad you are covering this, because a lot of people don't even know this story. It's something that's going to be mostly ignored by the mainstream media, or it might be taken up by some people as a humorous thing. And you know that if it were reversed, that it would be wall-to-wall coverage. You'd have people being asked for comments about it, leading people asked for comments about it, and there might even be a documentary down the road detailing all of these threats against, if it had been a Democratic president, for example.
You know, Eric Trump had a chance to sit down with Maria Bartiromo, and he's been responding to these threats. This is just the latest from Johnny Depp, and these general attacks from the left. I want you to react to this.
It has to roll off your back. Hey, listen, it's upsetting, sure. It has to roll off your back. I mean, I have a pregnant wife. She's 7 months pregnant. If you saw some of the comments that she receives from people, I mean, I couldn't even say them honestly on the air because they're so ghastly, but they're willing to attack a pregnant lady, somebody who's 7 months pregnant. They're willing to attack an 11-year-old boy, meaning, you know, my brother Barron, who's in the White House and at, you know, a fragile age. If they're willing to go after, you know, my half-sister Tiffany, 22 years old, who's going to law school, I mean, there is no borders for these people.
You know, it's just interesting, though, Gayle, because there's so many people who say you know, the Donald Trump campaign is an enthusiast, we're crass and loud and argumentative and created these fights. But they have been that on steroids and then some in their response to his eventual emergence as President of the United States. They don't like it, and they make it very obvious, but they go to extremes, even what they think are humorous death threats to make their angst known.
there's never a humorous death threat. But I think this is why you see Americans are supporting Trump, and they love Trump because they see what a brave man he is to subject his family to this kind of treatment in trying to do what's right for our country. And I think the important point, Neil, is that people who didn't vote for Trump or didn't support Trump, they see these kinds of unhinged attacks on him, and it makes them sympathetic because they see that he is not backing down. He's going to continue to do what he promised, and I think it has the unintended effect of creating sympathy and support for President Trump, which will ultimately help him get through his agenda.
Yeah, it's just sick. It's sick. Gayle Trotter, thank you very, very much.